The case I am about to report to you is real. Lou existed. He really did visit a floating brothel, and yes, he did awake to find a glass goblet rammed up his anus. Whether it was the alcohol or the opium, mistakes were made, and for treating a woman badly, Lou got it in the rear. Literally. Fortunately for us, Lou's tale of embarrassment was immortalized in 1849 in the American Journal of the Medical Sciences for us all to learn from. It was originally penned by the missionary and surgeon Dr. Peter Parker, chief of the ophthalmic hospital in Guangzhou. But, through verbal explanation and reading case notes, Fleet Surgeon of the United States East India Squadron, Dr. William Samuel Waithman Ruschenberger, was able to assemble and submit this report for publication. And now, without further delay, this is Extraction of a Glass Goblet from the Rectum. In the evening of the 1st of March, 1848, a young man, very respectable in appearance, solicited Dr. Parker's aid for his father, whom he had brought to the hospital. With many expressions indicative of his sense of shame and mortification, he related that Lou, his father, then 60 years of age, had spent the preceding night in one of the flower boats or floating brothels on the river with a prostitute. Under the insane excitement or intoxication produced by the combined influence of drinking spirituous liquors and smoking opium, the lecherous sufferer, in mischievous frolic, forced a glass goblet into the vagina of the companion of his sports. In the course of the night, Lou fell into a state of unconsciousness when the woman sought her revenge. She carefully insinuated the base of the goblet within his anus, and then, placing her opium pipe, a cylinder about 1 inch in diameter and 1.5 feet in length, at the bottom of the goblet on the inside, suddenly pushed it into the rectum, entirely above the sphincter. An edge of about 1/2 inch of the rolled lip of the glass had been broken out by efforts made by friends to remove it. Such was the report of the case when brought to the hospital for relief. On examination, the glass was found firmly fixed in its position. It was very difficult to pass the extremity of the finger beyond its lip, betwixt the outside and the rectum. In Dr. Parker's opinion, it was impossible to extract it entire, and therefore, though anticipating difficulty and danger in the operation, he determined to break it down? Good Lord. By means of forceps, such as used by obstetricians in breaking up the fetal cranium, commencing on the side nearest the pubis, he broke up the goblet and extracted it piece by piece, carefully guarding the parts by folds of cotton cloth as he proceeded, and removing the small sharp fragments which fell with a teaspoon. After the bowl or bell portion was removed, the most difficult part of the operation remained to be performed, for the hemorrhage was free, and the base of the goblet with the sharp points of the sessile stem resulting from the fracture was high up in the rectum and firmly embraced in the transverse position. Assisted by the bearing down of the patient, the edge of the base was reached by the point of a finger, and, with difficulty, turned edgewise, guarding against fractured points by pledgets. Then, by pressing the smooth side or bottom of the glass against the rectum, it was at last extracted. Remaining fragments were sought for, and the intestine thoroughly washed out. To arrest the hemorrhage, which was considerable, strong solutions of sulfate of copper and of alum were injected and temporarily confined in the rectum by pressing a sponge against the anus. For a time, the bleeding ceased, but during the night, several ounces of coagulated blood were evacuated. Afterwards, there was no more hemorrhage. The operation occupied 1.5 hours. An opiate was administered, and the patient placed in bed. The general treatment consisted in rest laxatives, and light diet. The rectum was occasionally injected with tepid water and solutions of nitrate of silver. On the 14th day, the case was discharged, cured.